What's good, y'all? It's your boy, Fully Talk with PA. Um, Today, um, probably a bit of a short video. Gonna start off with uh, some more, kind of serious, stuff. Then we'll kind of, we'll end it off with a bit, feel good, Eagles locker room vibes. But kind of want to start off with, obviously, fortunately, we heard news today, sports world. Fortunately, um, Marshawn Kneeland, um, you know, Dallas Cowboy, um, a kid, out of Western Michigan, believe second season. You know, it's just tough. Um, you see a lot of athletes, you know, people like me, that we talk about it. Um, Mental health. I mean, we talked about it before, earlier in the week. Mental health matters. Um, Something that a lot of athletes, like I, struggle with this. At times, I think you know I'm with the good friends, that be tuning in to the pod. Um, 2 years ago, or one and a half years ago, like spring of 2024, me personally, I was in pretty rough place. You know, didn't know if I was ever gonna, make it out, um, see the light ever again. I didn't know if I was gonna ever be able to play, um, you know, sports ever again, college career, what that was gonna look like. And thankfully I had, you know, family, I had, friends. Like I mean, so yeah, me personally, I was in, and my season got cut short, hospital for pretty much a month. But like, I thought I was lucky to have family, the friends, the prayer, to get through that. Um, and it seems our brother, Marshawn Kneeland, and it was really it always catches people by surprise because once again, Marshawn Newland was the player, the one he scored the only touchdown for the Dallas Cowboys, on Monday night, again in the, loss to Arizona. Um, you know, and I think, um, someone who I don't agree with on a lot of his, football takes, um, Dan Orlovsky today, I think, said it perfectly. Um, like as an athlete and like kind of as a man, like I'm kind of expected to be like when people call me, I feel like I have to. I feel like I'm expected to say like yo, like when people ask me like yo, are you good? Like I feel like I'm expected to answer like yeah, I'm fine. Everything's all good. Um, Even though everything may not be all good. And he talked about it like with Marshawn Kneeland, like there's a lot of like extreme highs in football, especially because one play, you're scoring the touchdown and you're celebrating whatever. And Dan Orlovsky, once again, he put it perfectly. He was like, "That's just 10 seconds. Now it's 4 plays later. Now Arizona or the other team, they're driving on us again. Um, now now they scored again. Our defensive line, um, the the part of the defense, the unit on defense that I'm the part of, we're not playing really well, and it's tough, especially for you know, players that, and this is not just an athlete only mental health kind of, video. It's, just anyone, just out there, um, it might be struggling or, um, just you need someone, if you need someone there, just know that, um, most, if you got that good friend, or if you're a youngin, you got parents, got that one uncle, that one aunt, that, or a cousin, whoever, that's always gonna pick up the phone. If you're an athlete, or if you're in the work, anywhere in the workforce, that one coworker, that one boss, that's always gonna pick up the phone, call that person, and then on the other end, like, you notice maybe someone's not right. Once again, me personally, I remembered one time something had happened, um, with a um, something that happened, something I thought was going well, ended up not going my way, and we were at practice, and one of my guys, shout out to him, man. Um, Chase Stitchman, know the name. He pulled me to the side. Was like, bro, like, you good? And I think I probably like looked up at him, because people know me, like, I don't really smile or do a whole lot of jokes on like a regular basis. But I bet I probably just looked at him with like probably a not that happy face and was like, yeah, man, I'm all good, I'm all good. And um he obviously wasn't taking that, but and I was saying some BS. I was obviously not all good, and he didn't take it that no for an answer. And we talked about it in the locker room after practice, all that. But that friend is out there. You know, obviously, if you're you struggling, um, crisis hotline 988. But I think that once again, when you have players like AJ Brown, you have players that like Lane Johnson, Dak Prescott, these guys that talk about mental health and the power and the struggle. Um, and the basketball, Russell Westbrook, LeBron. Um, some of these guys have been big time advocates and leaders, when it comes to this movement. I think we really have to start looking at these things, and and also media does play a role in this. I think you look at a player, um, like Marshawn Kneeland, maybe, and I want to let me preface this. I don't want to assume I know what he was thinking or I knew exactly what was going through his head, because it was unfortunate um, situation. You never want to see anyone you know take their own life, anything like that. But maybe, and then some players I've talked about. So you're on a team and things aren't going well. I've been on teams where things are not going well. We're not clicking on offense. We're not clicking on defense, and you start to get these thoughts of um, like, what are we doing here? Do I belong here? You start doubting yourself. You know, maybe you know, not an athlete. You're in the workforce, and someone like critiques you, and now you're like, do I really belong here? Like, what am I doing? Like stuff like that. But nevertheless, I think when you look at AJ Brown and the media, you're in Philly, and outside media, outs in like outside of Philly media, like inside Philly media, everyone except for Elliot Shore Parks like knew that AJ Brown wasn't going anywhere. When you look at, you know, Diana Rossini and all these other, outlets, you know, talking like they should trade AJ, like he's a locker room cancer and he doesn't like Jalen, and they're saying all these negative things. Um, I just think that it's tough. You gotta go on your phone, and that's also a main reason why a lot of Philadelphia athletes, whether it's AJ Brown, whether it's Devontae Smith, whether it's Jalen Hurts, whether it's Jordan Davis, whether it's Paul George, whether it's Bryce Harper, any of these guys, a lot of Philadelphia athletes like don't allow anyone to mention them. Everyone They don't allow everyone to mention them or tag them in posts and comment sections just because, and some players, go at it with fans in the comments and engage with fans like KD, um, or some of those guys. Um, but and I think that's more of like a trolling situation or trying to be funny in the comments. But not all that goes to say like this is it's tough. And you look at a guy like AJ Brown, um, Lane Johnson. I think the two biggest advocates on the Eagles, mental health matters. You know, AJ Brown literally partnered with a media company. Like check on your teammates, check on your friends, check on your loved ones. Do all that good stuff. But um, Marshawn Kneeland, it's a sad day. You know, the fact that he's played for Dallas, rival, all that stuff goes out the window. You just don't want to see stuff like this. And I think the police report they were saying like they were doing a welfare check, and he kind of took off on him, and eventually they found his car by I think side of the highway by the woods, and that's where they found him DOA. But all I was to say, check on your teammates, friends, loved ones, all that good stuff, because you never know who could be struggling, and they could be someone like me, who people that know me know that I don't really um, talk about these things, whether it's with them, or just other other people. Um, but um, I just it's something that needs to be said. I think as an athlete I see I feel Marshawn Kneeland even more on that standpoint, given the fact that you're not um, you're not like everyone else, and a lot goes to be said about that. But mental health matters. I really like once again. I really like what Dan Orlovsky had to say today, where he was like, "Yeah, he gets that touchdown, but then outside of that touchdown, that's just one play. That's just 10 seconds. The rest of the game, it's kind of like um, you don't know what he's thinking. You don't know what other players are going through. When you talk about AJ Brown, you talk about Lane Johnson, Dak Prescott, a lot of these guys, mental health advocates. Yeah, I just think it's really important to keep continuing to spread this message because we have a lot of I believe we have a lot of players out there, athletes, any sport, men, women, who might be struggling, might be going through something. Check on your loved ones. Check on your friends, your teammates. Um, AJ Brown partnered with that media company. Just check on them. Text a friend right now. You know, hey man, what's going on? You good? All right. Um, It's just really important that we continue to stay connected and continue to push. Um, R.I.P. Marshawn Kneeland, gone too soon. Um, you know, gone at 24. It's just unfortunate, terrible situation. Once again, team rival, all that stuff goes out the window. Um, just unfortunate. Um, but you know, on that note, I think we've talked about kind of what I kind of wanted to talk about to an extent. We'll shift over to Eagles locker room today. Now Jalen Phillips, Jair Alexander, AJ Brown, Devontae. There were all these. I know everybody. A lot of you all saw it on social media. You know, first off, I want y'all to take this into account. Jalen Phillips grew up in California. He went to college at the University of Miami. He played in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins. And he is saying now that this is the best day. His first day at Eagles practice was the best day of his life. Like, let's just take that into account. A team that plays in the Northeast, a team that it gets way colder than Dade County. And this man is saying it's the best day of his life. He hasn't even played a game yet. Jordan Love, you're in trouble. Josh Jacobs, you're in trouble. Offensive line, Zach Tom, you're in trouble. Jalen Phillips will have an impact on this week's game, no matter what his snap count is. Packers, watch out. Jalen Phillips, I'm super excited. Like second day comes in, makes the Philly, let's run it. I think back in 2023 when Miami came to Philly, and although they lost, Jalen Phillips, he showed up, got a sack on Hurts, hit the Eagles, fly Selly in Philly on a Sunday night. I think Jalen Phillips kind of wanted to be an Eagle. He was looking at my Bama QB ain't doing nothing. Got this one over here up north. Hey, agent. Yeah, let's you talked to Howie Roseman lately? You guys had a brunch or something? Oh yeah. Oh, they need an edge rusher. Man, get me out of here. Jalen Phillips. He's gonna he's and he thinks it's the best day of his life at practice. Man, Green Bay. It's gonna be a long day. Um, we had obviously Jair Alexander, who has history with Philly, not just in the NFL, but mom's is from there. He was in that area often as a kid growing up. He said in locker room interview, up there during the summers for camps. Jair, I see. That's the thing. I I have always liked Jair Alexander. When he was at Florida, if you play corner, not just any position, but if you play cornerback in the SEC, you got to come with a trash talk. That's just that's just nature of the game. You look up who he was playing when he was at Florida, the talent he was going up against week in, week out. Trash talk, that's part of the game. Obviously, he backed it up. Outstanding player for Green Bay. Now, his last year in Green Bay, he was hobbled. Didn't really do a lot. His second to last year in Green Bay, except for the playoff game where he had, I believe, came back, didn't really do a whole lot. He was injured. Baltimore, obviously. I don't think Baltimore is a mix of not being the right scheme for him, um, and also the Ravens defense just being deplorable. Like we see what they got over in Baltimore. I think easily most overhyped secondary of the offseason coming in, but you come to Philly, he says it's the best. Once again, Jair Alexander came into Philly for 2 days and said it's already the best he's felt since his all pro time in Green Bay. Green Bay is going to get rough. Romeo Dobbs is going to be a rough night for you, sir. Be on alert. If Vic Fangio can fix Jair Alexander, if Vic Fangio can make Isaiah Rodgers look like a Pro Bowler on certain nights, what the heck do you think he's going to do with Jair Alexander, former All Pro? Green Bay is going to get rough for y'all. Y'all better watch out because he's coming and he's not looking back. And then obviously, I know we all saw it. Jair was asked about AJ. And he was like, yeah, man, I walked up to AJ, like we hugged, dapped up. I was like, man, this ain't Brazil no more. This ain't Brazil no more. It's just a great feeling of camaraderie. Obviously you talked about that we're past the, beef and all that good stuff. Then obviously AJ on the other side was like, yeah, man, like low key, like, yeah, bro, like that's my son. But like then, everybody starts laughing, then he starts laughing. But it's all jokes. Once again, that's two SEC guys. So the trash talks about to be, legendary. But this is a good vibes feeling in the locker room. Lastly, with about AJ Brown, Devontae Smith as well was in the cut. Media asked him like, "Do you want to be here?" And AJ had to troll. Yeah, this is for all the media that was like, "Oh wait, Diana Rossini." AJ's he's going and he's gone, and he doesn't want to be here, and like we're gonna neglect all the things he said, and we're gonna run with our narrative. Even though Howie Roseman said it multiple times, like he's the most important player, like to our team, like captain and leader, all this stuff. I'm trying to put this nicely. AJ Brown, when asked by that reporter about, do you want to be here? That AJ Brown is trolling the media. Like you heard him answer, like, why would I not want to be in the greatest city with, the best fans that hold us accountable? And why would AJ Brown want to leave a situation where he's received All Pro, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl? Why would you want to leave? What receiver has ever want to leave that? Tell me the receiver that's ever wanted to leave after winning a Super Bowl, All Pro, Pro Bowl, has an MVP caliber quarterback. What receiver is leaving? Now, Terrell Owens is a different story. We could discuss him at a later point in time. But what was it? Like, who? Who? There's no one is leaving that situation, especially when you got the connection AJ has with Jalen Devontae. AJ Brown is not going anywhere. Y'all heard him say it for about the 100th time. He's not going anywhere. Eagles fans, don't be concerned. The guys are here to stay. Jalen Phillips, Jair Alexander, good locker room vibes. I'm hyped. Monday matchup. Jalen Hurts, first time in Lambeau since he came in for Carson Wentz, 2020. We know that 4th and 13 touchdown pass to Greg Ward, 40-yard bomb. That's when I personally had seen enough. Obviously, we all know he started that next week and at home against New Orleans. We all know how that turned out. Duo with Kyler Murray the next week. Rest is history. But hey, man, it's my boy Philly Talk with PA. Always keep it a stack. Always keep it a buck over here. Check on a friend. Check on a teammate. Check on a loved one. I'm out.